Hey everybody, Chris here. Are we seeing the start of a Dogecoin relief rally? We're going to talk about that in this video. Please be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit that little notification bell too. You can be notified when my new videos come out, as well as when I do live streams. We are watching the charts to see confirmation of a bear market, and I know many of you have your opinions. It seems like in the comments, more people are posting the negative bear market comments than a lot of you I know are still bullish on Dogecoin. So I'd like to see some more of your comments about how you feel about Doge and how your outlook is. If you think we're still in an overall bull market, or you think we're chopping around trying to wait for the next big thing, which of course I'll talk to you about in this video as well. So let's get into it. Let me show you the charts and the news. I'll show you what I'm looking at. And we start here looking at the current Dogecoin chart, and we're just under 16 cents right now. We had the big pullback yesterday, and we bounced off of a slowly downward sloping support line down here at about 14.8. So now we're up to 15.8. We've gained a penny back on a nice V-shape recovery for Doge. That is bullish as well when you see that V-shape when you had that big pullback. Now, what was that big pullback? We talked about that on the live stream yesterday. We watched all of the liquidations happening. That's right. This is a market maker driven pullback on a short time frame. Of course, we've seen bigger ones before, but this was a short time frame, and the market responded, coming all of the way back up. So we're starting to turn upwards even higher, 16 cents on the mark in the short term. And for Bitcoin, Bitcoin's seeing this kind of the same thing, right? Not as violent of a pullback, but money-wise, it was larger in liquidations, tens of millions of dollars wiped out by the market makers. And I covered that on my X profile as well. If you don't follow me on X, I am at ChrisPax there as well. Just all the shenanigans going on with the market makers and the exchanges. And this time it was Bybit that was manipulating the price down in order to get one particular $10 million Bitcoin long leverage, and they got it. And so then they let the market go, right? Basically, they start buying back in Bitcoin, and it brings the price back up. So not as clear of a V, but certainly higher. Bitcoin came up higher as well. So we've got that to look at. And now when we zoom out, we look at the daily chart, and Bitcoin is still in a down trend from the previous big pullback, taking out hundreds of millions of dollars of leverage on Bitcoin alone, of course, over $1 billion. And we had that hundreds of millions in like 3 consecutive days that happened there. And that was, of course, the Bitcoin death cross that we had there. What usually happens here? We do see relief rallies. And that does happen very often in Bitcoin and Dogecoin as well. Now, Dogecoin did not fall as hard and is now in the red box again. And, we're watching. It did dip down below. We have that lower supporting line there that Dogecoin bounced off of, back in the red box. We're trying to get back up to 18 cents in the purple box, and that could be that relief rally. And then we go back to the weekly chart, and on the weekly chart, zoomed all the way out, this is where we are. We are at a very interesting conflection point there for Dogecoin. And are we going to see a relief rally back up for Doge? Bitcoin typically, again, fell below the 50-week moving average. And typically we see, as we did, we go all the way back here to 2021, when Bitcoin finally fell below the 50-week moving average, it did have a relief rally back up, came back up over the 50-week moving average before going lower. So that dip there was down to 42,000, and then it did a relief rally up to 52,000. That was a $10,000 swing right there in Bitcoin. So we could see a very similar thing here where we came down to 88,000. We could have a relief rally all the way back up to the 50-week moving average, which is just about $102,000. So that would be a move that could be expected. And then what Bitcoin does from there, we shall see. So let's get into what is happening with the news and the more immediate charts on what is going on. September jobs report is due. I'm recording this video before those numbers come out, but we expect the numbers to be a little bit okay, which will add more fear into whether the Fed is going to cut rates in December or not. I think that's why it's gone down so much in terms of the odds of another rate cut, because people think these September jobs aren't going to be so bad. But we're in November, so why are they doing September jobs? That's because the government was shut down for over a month. We don't have those October numbers. We're not going to get them until December, but it's going to be after the FOMC meets before they get that news. So they're working off of old data, which could lead Powell to just say, well, that's old data now. We don't have the new data, so we're not going to do anything, which would be hawkish and could cause the markets to go down. So that's out there for December for the rate cuts. We'll keep our eye on that. We know, like yesterday, extreme fear was down into 11. That's the lowest it has been since April for the Bitcoin fear and greed. Dogecoins is a little higher. We showed that yesterday. That was up in the 20s. So only fear for Doge, interesting. But Bitcoin is more in extreme fear than Dogecoin. Look at no social interest in crypto. The sentiment is flat. It is bad, right? There's so much fear out there. Based on this pullback, everyone was expecting this big blow off top to happen in October and November, and it didn't happen. And so the interest is waning. People are just selling. They're going to go chase Nvidia, right, at all-time highs. Right? That's where the money is going, right? It's going over into the stocks because that's what people do, right? They just do a quick reaction and say, well, that's going up, so I'm going to buy that. That's not how you make a lot of money. You make a little money doing that. Just slowly over time, possibly chasing all of those things. But sometimes you're going to get caught with big bags when things start to pull back. So be careful with that. And we know we've got the same in crypto with ZEC, right? Buying ZEC over $700. And it's like, is that going to be sustainable for ZEC? Bitcoin closed its weekly candle below the 50-week moving average. Therefore, we have to assume the top is in until proven otherwise. Bear markets are a patience and survival game. Base case is a shallow bear since the bull market was so slow and steady. And that's what we had, right? From the beginning of 2023, we never had the big blow off top, right? That's the big white thing right there, right? We would expect from a pullback, we would come back and then zoom up 140, 150,000. That would be the bull scenario. Is this a bear trap? Well, if it's a bear trap, it could have a big relief rally that goes up as well to a new all-time high. But I would think if it was a bear trap, we would actually see it kind of grind around back up to 110 to 120 and be a bit more sideways, not come up as violently as what is being shown on this chart in yellow. But then the bear market would be a small relief rally, maybe up to 100 or 102, as we showed, retouch the 50-week moving average, and then we'll move down into the 70s and maybe into the 60s, and that would be the bear market. And most people, the sentiment is this, in red. That is what is the most likely. We will watch that as we go along. Stock Money Lizards is saying, look, we were in the exact same wedge as Q1 2025, right? We did the same exact thing. Now, I'm not talking about 2024 and the election, and particularly with Doge and Elon Musk and all of that. That's what caused Doge to move up back in November. Now I'm just looking at now the fear of the tariffs. We had the pullback, and what happened? We bounced. We actually bounced. And it was not just a relief rally at that time, but it was actually a stronger move up for Bitcoin to a new all-time high. And Doge at that time went from 13 cents all the way up to 30 cents in that same time frame, or a little bit earlier. The October run kind of got squashed there on Doge with all the FUD going on. But we could see the setup as the same structure. We could have the same outcome incoming. Everyone's calling bear market at 88K, but this could still happen. And a move could come up that's not only a relief rally to the 50-week moving average, but then continues higher because of the news, right? because of the news. And maybe the market makers are going to go after shorts, right? So we look at the Bitcoin hourly chart and we see a downward sloping resistance line. Bitcoin cut above it, comes back and retests, and may come back after the second line here now, because a new line forms, right? We tip up, pull back a little. Now we got a new line forming. We could come up above that too. So first trend line broken, 2 more to go. Bring on the higher high and higher low to confirm that 88K bottom. That is in the cards. Even Ben Cowan says, look, final confirmation of a bear market is usually a dead cat bounce. Now, of course, PaxCat does not like dead cat bounce. If you don't know who PaxCat is, come join on the live streams because he does make appearances. And everybody loves the PaxCat, even more than Chris Pax, but that's how it goes. So Ben Cowan's saying, hey, look, we could go to the 200-day moving average, or we could go to the 50-week moving average. They're all up there right above 100,000, usually within a month from the peak, or maybe a few months. We could see that dead cat bounce or relief rally. Even Ben Cowan, Lord Cowan, is saying that. So we will watch for that. Maybe that's a time to exit, right? If you're looking for, you don't sell in fear at 88K on the red candles. You wait for the big green candles. And typically we have those kinds of moves back up. Crypto Rover says, look, quantitative tightening is ending on December 1st. That's only 10 days from now. Are you mentally prepared? What is going to happen? Now, last time we ended quantitative tightening was way back here in 2019, right? And yeah, the market kind of bounced around for a little bit. That was the end of sort of the reset from the big pullback in 2018. And then the market went crazy. Now, is it going to take that long again, another whole year before the market goes crazy again? It could. That could. But there's some big ups and downs that happened in that time frame. I think the market moves a little more here now than we did back in 2020. Total 3 weekly outlook. Total 3 sitting right on its long-term ascending channel support, a level that's held since early 2024. So are we going to bounce off this level on total 3, which speaks to alts, right? And how alts are going to move because they've been getting decimated. All of our alts are pretty much down, except if you're holding ZEC and a few others that have done some rallying on its own. If buyers defend this zone, altcoins could rebound toward $3.5 to $3.7 trillion. That would be the relief rally, right, for alts. But if the trend line breaks and goes further, that's bear market. And then we will be dropping down. I'm waiting for confirmation on that as well. As far as Doge, look, we have a very similar setup here on the MACD for Doge here, again, that we had earlier in the year. All right, I'm not talking about November a year ago with the election, but no, this was the tariff pullback, and we have a very similar setup here on the MACD, Alan showing us, that we have right now. Very similar setup. Could that lead to not only relief rally, but then higher prices? That's what we're watching for right now. We could be in a very similar position. Now, what's going to cause that to happen for Doge? Dogecoin flashes major rebound signal as exchange flows flip. Major rebound signal. So Ali's talking about exchange net position, all exchanges for Doge. We flipped over. We showed this yesterday from red to green. This is the start of a move that we've had before. Every time we flip red to green, Dogecoin price went up. Red to green, Dogecoin price went up. Red to green, Dogecoin price went up. You get the picture. So that is a bullish signal. We will look for that. Now, what's going to cause otherwise the crypto market to go up? Well, we're going to see what the jobs report is today, right? There'll be some kind of volatility. We'll see how that ends out, but that's really more about stocks. But Bitcoin and crypto also reacts to that. Quantitative tightening ending, we saw that. We got ETFs, right? New XRP and Dogecoin ETFs expected to begin trading in the coming days, especially the Dogecoin Grayscale. It's a big deal. It's a big deal for Doge to have a Grayscale Trust ETF on a spot, right? This isn't just a futures thing, but this is spot ETF. And Grayscale is big time, and we think that's going to be on Monday. That's going to start trading, so we are watching for that. And then we have the wild card, of course. Elon Musk reveals X Money, right? He says it's coming soon. The X Money account still saying it's going to launch in 2025. So we've got a little over a month to go in the calendar year, and X Money is out there. And even though Dogecoin is not going to be on X Money when it launches, again, I keep saying this and repeating it. A lot of you guys are getting sick of me saying that, but I repeat it again and again because some of you guys come out and say, well, Doge isn't going to be on X. I say, I know, I've said it a million times over the past year. I've been saying that. But that doesn't mean Dogecoin can't pump, because that's a big thing. And there's always a possibility sometime in the future, Elon's going to do something with Dogecoin, and this would be the perfect opportunity for that. So we'll be watching what happens with Dogecoin, Bitcoin, and the crypto market. Are we beginning a relief rally here? Let me know in the comments below. Give the video a like, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I appreciate the support. We'll see you next time.